My friends, at various times of the liturgical year, a certain holy and hidden figure comes to light. This would be during the Advent season and Christmas season, also towards the end of March, at the beginning of May. I'm talking about the figure of St. Joseph. My friends, it's going to be hard for me to properly convey the full power of intercession and the full dignity of the man that God the Father chose to, quote, substitute for him, to be the foster father of the Word made flesh. St. Thomas Aquinas makes it very clear that graces are given according to vocation. Can you imagine what it would be to be the guardian of the Redeemer? Welcome to Marycast. This is Dr. Mark Miravalle, Professor of Theology and Mariology at the Franciscan University of Steubenville. And we're going to talk in these next couple segments about St. Joseph. St. Joseph, who is rightly seen as the patron of the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And let's go for a moment from the scripture Joseph to the Fatima Joseph. On October 13th, 1917, our Blessed Mother appears at Fatima in her final apparition of the 1917 apparitions. It's the apparition of the solar miracle. Remarkable things are revealed in the solar miracle itself, in Our Lady's intercession for world peace, in Our Lady's intercession against things like potential nuclear disaster, in the witness of 70,000 people who see the sun falling from the sky and then leave its direction closer to the earth and going back up to the sky and leaving everything dry, which previously had been wet by rain. It was a day of miracles. But in those revelations of Fatima, in the overall Fatima message for the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, the promise of our Blessed Mother, in the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph and a period of peace will be given to the world. Within the context of that message, on October 13th, St. Joseph appears holding the child Jesus. And Joseph and Jesus bless the world simultaneously. What does this portend for us? This tells us that if we want to have a triumph in the church, if we want to have a triumph in the world, if we want to see the Immaculate Heart of Mary triumph in an era of peace enter the world, then the patron of the universal church has to be included. St. Joseph has been declared by Pius IX and Leo XIII in the middle of the 19th century as the patron of the universal church. What does that mean? It means St. Joseph is your spiritual father and he's my spiritual father because he's the church's spiritual father. This is why the great saints have said that St. Joseph deserves, on the level of devotion, what we call protodulia. And by protodulia, the church means, in terms of its theology, that God alone receives latria, adoration, sacrifice. The Blessed Mother receives what is properly called hyperdulia, which is different in nature and degree than the veneration of the rest of the saints, but never reaches the latria due exclusively to God. St. Joseph, in the category of dulia, which is that general category of veneration of the saints, deserves the first place. First place in our minds, first place in our hearts. After the Trinity and after our Blessed Mother. He's protodulia, first in the order of veneration. So, he's patron of the entire mystical body of Jesus Christ. He's patron of the holy souls in purgatory. He's patron of the communion of saints. He's patron of the church, the people of God on earth. He's your patron, he's my patron. And here's this principle of St. Augustine, which we'll get into in a later segment as well. St. Augustine, in using the understanding of the mystical body, tells us this, that what St. Joseph was to Jesus, St. Joseph is to his body. So what was Joseph to Jesus? Joseph was a spiritual father, as Augustine would say, an adoptive father, who protected the Redeemer, who loved the Redeemer like his own son. And we're going to see that St. Thomas Aquinas says that God infused a portion of his own fatherly heart into the heart of Joseph and into the heart of Jesus so they could have a true father-son relationship. It's hard to imagine the level of holiness of this man who was fallen but redeemed. So we're not saying St. Joseph is immaculately conceived like our Blessed Mother, but we're saying the next best thing, that after Our Lady, St. Joseph deserves our highest love, our highest devotion. And for our own age, we go back to Fatima and we realize that we want the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary to take place. We want an era of peace. That means we have to pay more attention to St. Joseph. We have to pray to St. Joseph for this triumph. And, you know, the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary is a universal triumph that will take place, but it's got to happen person by person, family by family. And I speak especially to the fathers, not exclusively, but especially. You fathers, you have to be the St. Joseph of your domestic church. You have to bring his peace, his strength, his firmness, his gentleness, his justice into your homes. And in that way, you will help your family grow towards the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary that we all desire. So St. Joseph is powerful, and he's relevant, and he's contemporary, and he's for you and me now. And I want to dovetail Joseph's presence at Fatima with the remarkable statements regarding St. Joseph, which comes out of the apparitions of Our Lady of America. We've talked about this previously in our segments as well. Again, briefly, Our Lady of America is a series of apparitions which happened to a religious sister from Ohio, Sister Mildred, and which Archbishop Burke, previously of St. Louis, presently the head of the Apostolic Signatura in Rome, the highest office of canon law. He's the kind of the Supreme Court justice over the highest canon law court of the Church. He has already made a statement that the messages of Our Lady of America, based on good canon law and application, are already approved. They're approved because Archbishop Leopold of Cincinnati was the spiritual director of Sister Mildred, and that he approved the coining of the medal of Our Lady of America, and also made clear his acceptance of these messages. So what does Our Lady of America say about our Blessed Mother and our country? Tremendous things. A call to solemnly process an image of Our Lady of America into the shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C., and such would be the occasion of miraculous graces of purity for our country, if done so with the bishops. But specific to St. Joseph, Our Lady reveals remarkable things, and two things I want to point out briefly. Number one, that even though St. Joseph was not immaculately conceived, that he was sanctified a moment after his conception. So as the Church has held about the pre-sanctification of John in the womb, that John leapt in the womb of Elizabeth when Mary came, even earlier was St. Joseph pre-sanctified, a moment after conception, because his task was to be the guardian of the Redeemer of the universe. A mind-boggling responsibility, and God would give the graces for that. And the second revelation regarding St. Joseph in the apparitions of Our Lady of America, also astounding, is that St. Joseph is called the co-redemptor of humanity. Now, what does that mean? It means Jesus is the universal Redeemer, divine and human exclusively. Mary participates as the co-redemptrix uniquely. But St. Joseph, for all his knowledgeable experience of what was coming concerning the passion and death, Joseph suffered because he knew he would not be there to support his adoptive son and his spouse in their greatest suffering. And so St. Joseph offers this in advance. We're going to pick up this theme as we continue. Why St. Joseph deserves to be first after the Trinity and after our Blessed Mother, in your mind and in my mind, in your heart and in my heart, and in the heart of the Church. We'll continue with this series of St. Joseph. This is Dr. Mark Miravalle, thanking you for being with us. God bless.